and she's talking to us about mating choices that human females have to make, and this is gonna be a fun one. So please join me in welcoming Heng, everybody.
Thank you. First things first, congratulations, Cassi and Tyler. I'm so happy for you guys. On one hand, I'm all happy about you. On the other hand, I'm worried because you guys are like the nicest people I've ever met in Nebraska. Two of you guys, and on the other hand, you know, normally couples are matched with one nice ones and one hardcore ones. Like me and my husband. Of course, I'm the nice one. And you guys are paired up by two nice people. Who's going to protect you? Just let me know when you need help, okay? I can send my husband to help you, yeah? Okay, so my topic is lovers or providers, a tough mating choice for human females. So before I talk about the PowerPoint, I want to list the references first because I will keep talking until Tyler drags me off the stage. So I want to list the reference first, so I won't take the credits from other people. So evolutionary psychology is an interdisciplinary field that people will analyze human behavior like jealousy and sex regret or memory or language from an evolutionary angle, like from the natural selection angle. This is a very interesting field, and I got a lot of inspiration from Dr. David Bass, who is in University of Texas, and also Dr. Robin Baker, who is way ahead of his time. He published a book in 1990s about sperm wars, about how women will try to have sex with multiple men to create a war, to create better babies. So he's way ahead of his own time, and even now it's ahead of his time. So this is a very great book to read about. Another reference is she's a Chinese model / blogger. She's very good at reading and writing things in a way that everyone can understand, even I can understand it. So she's a very good writer. So I want to give the credit for them first before I start. Okay. So also, I think you guys are all kind of drunken enough to not get offended. I still want to say, when I talk about relationship between men and women, I'm also including relationship between men and women and women. I'm like, when I talk about women and men, I'm not trying to use the old-fashioned stereotype to talk about relationship. I think gay guys and lesbian couples can still relate to this. And funny thing is, when I try to find a photo of this, I found some very inappropriate. It's very hard to find one like this. Also, to not offend people, when I talk about the evolutionary success, I'm talking about like the definition of it is having more kids, passing more genes to the next generation. But you know, I feel in nowadays when we talk about the success, it's much broader than having kids. So here, when I talk about the success, I just mean the evolutionary ones. But I totally think people can pass our information through mimi, yeah, which is we pass our own spirit, our own thought to the next generation rather than genes. So I think people who adopt kids, we can still pass our thinking into the next generation, which is way better than just passing the genes. So I just want to acknowledge that before I talk about things in a traditional way, because I am a fossil. So what do women want? Do women have animal desires? So when we talk about animal desires, we keep thinking about men, right? Because men are such animals. Just want to have sex with all the beautiful women, there are no boundaries. But women are not saints. We have our own animal desires. I feel the difference is like we're smarter, we're hiding it much better. When women commit a crime, men will not find out. So that's the difference. So I want to talk about an ancient Chinese joke to as an introduction of women's animal desires. There was a very beautiful young Chinese girl in ancient times in a small village. When she grew up to the age to get married, she had two options. There are two guys who proposed to her. One of them is very rich, but not as good looking, not as attractive. And the other one is very poor, but very, very good looking, very intelligent, very funny. And so by then it's arranged marriage. So her parents cannot make a decision. So they're open-minded enough to ask her, so which one do you want, the ugly rich one or poor handsome one? She thought about it for a whole night, and the next morning she said, okay, I made my decision. Okay, I want to eat at the rich ugly guy's home. But at night, I want to go to the poor guy's home to sleep with the handsome one. So that's her decision. She wants both of them, but only the good parts. So this was a joke to describe women's animal desire. So how to say it in a more scientific way though? I think women want good genes from a guy. The good genes including the good looking and the intelligence and funny. And we also want good resources. So when I'm talking about good resources, I'm not only talking about money. I'm also talking about the guy who care about us, take care of us, take us out, care about our days, and also the man being a good father character for our potential offspring. So women want the combination of good genes and good resources. We want both, just like that girl, right? So when we like a guy for his good genes, in this presentation, I will call the guys lovers. And when we like guys for their good resources, in this presentation, I will call them providers. So women, we already talked about, we want good genes and good resources. We want lovers and the providers. But what do men want? So I asked around, my guy friend, so do you want to be lovers or providers? So the answer varies. They want to be lovers from 100% to 500%. So that's the difference. Being a lover sounds so ideal, right? Because women will love us for who we are, from how handsome we are, how good we are at sex, how funny we are, rather than from what we can give them. Who doesn't want a person who loves us for our mate value rather than who we can give? So it seems like it's pretty ideal for men to want to be a 100% of a lover at least. So in that case, isn't that going to be like every man's choice? So during evolution, if every man chooses this strategy, all of the men in nowadays are going to be the offspring from those people, right? So it's going to be like 100% of guys going to be the pure lover. However, when I look around in relationships, I see guys have different decisions. There are guys who are willing to buy a house, get married, take care of the wife and the kids. So why there are still men make different choices? So as being a lover sounds so amazing. We don't need responsibilities. We just go around, have sex. So there must be some selection that selects against the choice of being 100% of a lover. So what are the disadvantages of being a lover? So one thing I can think of is if I'm a girl who is single, have a mate value of 4, and there are 2 guys I can choose, they both have mate value of 4 as well. One of them insists on being 100% of a lover, and the other one who's going to treat me really well and take care of me and take care of our potential kids, which one I would choose? So I probably choose the ones who treat me better. So in that case, being a 100% of a lover means that the guy needs to choose to mate with girls who has lower mate value than he is. If he's a 4, he probably have to mate with a girl who is a 3 or even a 2. So that guy will choose, so that girl will be able to treat him as a lover, because a girl who is a 4 like me won't take that bullshit. So because they compromise the mate value of the spouse, as a consequence, they will compromise the quality, the gene quality of the offsprings. So evolutionary speaking, they will have offsprings have lower gene quality as a guy who's willing to provide to a woman. So also, as modern technology increases, those guys who have lover strategy may not have any offspring. We have the birth control stuff. So that's a disadvantage that selects against the pure lover. So on the contrary, being a provider have some merits, such as they can match up with girls who have higher mate values than him, and they can also have offsprings with better gene quality, and potentially they have more offsprings. You can notice I put a question mark here, because as a provider, they may have a lot of offsprings under their names. But as I already mentioned, girls have animal desires of mating with a lover and living with a provider. So how many of the offsprings belong to the provider is questionable. So this is a picture I got from the Real app. People are selling this to track their wives. So that's how being a provider can be insecure. You have to guard your wife all the time to make sure all 5 out of 5 kids are yours. But there are times, like if a guy who's a 4 matched up with a girl who's a 6, even only 2 out of 5 kids are actually his, he's probably still winning, because that 2 kids have good genes and good resources. So that's not a total loss. Also, those kind of rules as lovers or providers are not fixed. So those can be dynamic. So men can change rules when they are with different women and at different times in their life. For example, George Clooney, when he was younger, he was just choosing the 100% lover strategy. He was just dating endless of beautiful women. And now he's older, his mate value drops a little. Also, he met someone who has really high mate value. So he decided to change his strategy from a 100% lover to at least partially a provider. So we can see here, this is an example of the dynamic role change. Also, so do we know who we are in a relationship? So it's kind of hard to tell because people do things through our instincts. So even women, when we are in a relationship, when we're in a relationship with a guy, we may not be able to tell how we're treating them. So there are some signs to show whether we're treating a guy as a pure provider or a lover. So one sign that a woman treats a man as a provider is that, So I want to talk about it because I want people to be able to figure out our true feelings. I also want guys to, if they don't want to be a provider, don't get into that kind of relationship. I don't want to make couples fight after tonight. I don't want you to go home and say, I met a girl last night in the bar and she told me I'm your provider and none of our kids is mine. I don't want to cause trouble. Okay, one of the signs that a woman treats a man as a provider is she's angry all the time. Every tiny mistake you make just make her really, really mad. So that's a very good indicator that you're her provider rather than a lover. Because we can feel that when we don't like someone, the way they breathe is irritating, right? So in that case, if nothing you do make her happy, it's not about what you do, it's you and your low mate value according to her. Also, a sign that a woman treats a man as a provider is she can be overly possessive about you. People say that when a woman really loves a man, she can be very jealous, very possessive, and throw a tantrum all the time. That I don't agree. I feel when a woman really likes a man as a lover, she respects him a lot. But I want to tell that there's a difference between normal jealousy and overly possessive. We can see on the picture on the left that it's very normal for the spouse to be mad because the guy is almost like smelling the other girl's butt. And on the other picture though, the guy was just being nice and holding the elevator door for a woman, which is very normal. If his spouse gets mad, she's being overly possessive. She's treating him as her own resource, her own property, rather than a human being who is polite and nice. So in that case, that's an indicator that a woman is treating a man as a provider. Another indicator is how she takes the rejections. So when we treat a guy as a lover, if she rejects us, we'll feel sad. We'll feel it's bad that we're insufficient to match with him. We don't blame him. I mean, it's very normal for someone out of our league to not like us. But on the contrary, if a girl wants a guy but the guy rejects her, probably for some reason such as he's moving to another country or he has a wife. If the girl gets very angry, that's a different story. It's more of like, he's her provider, like how dare you? I'm already settling down for you, and that's a good opportunity for you once in your life, and you dare to reject me? Seriously? That kind of style, that means in her mind you're the provider. And another sign that a woman treats a man as a provider is we won't mate with you unless we have some very serious promises. For example, I'm a girl who has a mate value of 4. If I was single and if a guy who is a 10 asked me out or tried to copulate with me with no promises, I'd probably still take the chance. Because, although copulation may end up in pregnancy, I may become a single mom, bring up a kid, that's going to be hard. But on the other hand, I will receive a kid with very high gene quality I would normally not have. So that's a very good chance I may want to take. On the other hand, if I met a guy in the bar, if I'm a 4 and a guy in the bar who's a 2 and ask me, hey, you want to have a quickie in the bathroom? Or if someone saying, hey, you want to be friends with benefit? I will get mad and throw drinks at him. It's not because he's basically calling me a slut, which is not an insult anyways. It's because he is insulting my judgment. I mean, does he seriously think I'm an insane woman who would choose a combination of bad gene and bad resources? Come on. So that's one of the tips for guys who not get punched in the bars is when we approach a woman who's kind of out of our league, we need to bring an attitude of we're willing to provide. So without a providing attitude, he's going to be end up really bad. So a happy relationship is a healthy blend of man being a lover and a provider. Okay. So if we want to maintain a happy relationship, the man need to provide good genes and good resources. If it's unbalanced, it's very easy to cause a relationship to be unhappy. So what are the signs when a woman treats a man as a lover, as a pure lover? There are 2 sentences that can summarize it. One is that I love you and you are free. So basically, we respect your choices, we respect you for who you are, we don't want to change you. And the other way is, I love you for who you are, not what you can bring me, or not who you will become. So when we try to compliment our spouse, our husband or boyfriend, instead of only saying, I love you because you treat me really well, I love you because you buy me a house or you buy me flowers, we should also compliment their genes. So I love you because you have a big penis. I love you because you're very good looking, very funny. So compliment them from the angle of treating a lover and also a provider, but do not emphasize the provider part. That makes them sensitive and install that spy app which is showed. How am I doing time?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay. Thank you so much for Cassi and Tyler for giving me suggestions on this presentation. Also, thank you, my husband John Munson, for editing my PowerPoint. And you have really great taste of guys. He was choosing photos for me on those pictures of guys. So he's very good at doing it.
Nice.
Thank you so much, and I wish all the women here can find a good lover and a good provider, and if we're lucky enough, they may even be the same person.
What percentage is your husband love?
It's a very good question. So this gentleman asked, what is the percentage of my husband, John Munson over here, being a lover and a provider? I would say I was being very sneaky. As we already talked about, guys have dynamic rules with different people at different situations, right? So I was being smart. So he is from the West Coast. So in West Coast, the ratio between men and women is very high. So there are way more men than women. So when I was there, when I moved to there, he's surrounded by a lot of guys, and they feel very excited to see a living female. So that gave him an illusion of a higher mate value of me or lower mate value of him. So in normal conditions, he's going to be my 100% of a lover, but somehow he thinks very low about himself. So he wants to be a 50% of a lover and 50% of a provider, which I want to keep going without. So yeah, I tricked him into it.
More questions?
A well blend between lovers and providers. Like when I talk about the indicators of women treating a man as a provider, you may say, oh, that's me a little bit, but not as extreme. So like lover and provider can be, a well mixed.
Like a scale?
Yeah, it can be a scale. Like, yeah, when you're at this end, you're a pure lover. When you're at that end, you're a pure provider, kind of thing. That's my understanding. Yes, Dr. Herman.
So I'm trying to understand your theory of lover and provider. So can that theory explain the extramarital affairs of our president?
So Dr. Herman's question is that can the lover and provider question explain Donald Trump's love affair? I think he's probably trying to do higher percentage of lovers than a provider. I also have a rock, paper, scissors theory. I don't have enough time to talk about. So in my theory, he's more paper who's like provide more resources, and what he cares is high mate value and high loyalty, low paternal uncertainty, like for a wife. But when he's looking for lovers, he's only looking for high mate value, and he doesn't care about paternal uncertainty because he found a Harker, right? So the Harker is lower paternal uncertainty, no, higher paternal uncertainty. So yeah, we can talk about it later. It's like another 30 minutes. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.